All right, welcome back to the Saloon. I am Wrangler, and today we are going to talk about these guys. This is another faction that I unlocked the characters, and I applied Omicrons and Zetas and modded them, at least according to the data on Swigo.gg, and I really have no idea how they work. Shocking, I know. I mean, I know kind of how they work. I've used them since I've unlocked them, but I never really got into the kits all that much. It's another book of a kit. Thank you, CG, for draining my brain cells. So I thought I would go over this and learn more for myself, take him into battle a couple more times, specifically looking for the mechanics. And yeah, it's still a lot on this team, but a little bit more manageable. So let's get into it. As usual, hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying these faction dumbing down versions of their kits that I like to produce because it helps my brain. And if you do subscribe, hit that bell button and it'll let you know when another video comes out. Let's jump in. Let's get into Baylan Skoll and the Mercenaries. Okay, so I'm up here again. Hi. I know. But there's a lot of words in these kits, and I like to get out of the way. And you see my face enough, so let's get into the mechanics. Grab yourselves a drink. There's a lot on this one. Okay. So, as usual, we're going to do a summary first. And what you want are the big three. You want Baylan and Shin and Marak. The reason for that is, one, they're all mercenaries, so that fits. But they have this Soldier of Fortune unique ability. All three of them do. And they all interact on that unique. And, more importantly, Baylan gives the Soldier of Fortune stacks to all the other mercenaries in the game. And there's a bunch of them. All of those older characters, they don't have a added unique like Shin and Marak do, so you really need those three, at least in my opinion. You can mess around with other comps, whatever you have geared up or relicked, great. But I think this team was designed for those three, and then two of your choice. Okay, so the stacks of Soldier of Fortune do a whole bunch for all of the characters, so the more stacks, the better. And that's kind of the way it works in the kits. Is the more stacks you get, the more ramping bonuses you get. So just think about it that way, and you'll have it nailed. There are a ton, and I mean a ton, a shit ton, a metric fuck ton of conditional bonuses on this squad. And we're going to go over a lot of them, but not all of them, because it would be a really long video. I will simplify it at the end and at least show you how I think about this team after I've played with them for a little bit and kind of put some thought into it. But again, if you're big brained and you can keep all this stuff in the old gray matter there, then more power to you. Use it. You'll be a lot more efficient at this team than I am. As I said, there's a lot of mercenary character choices. CG was very generous in that tag, which is great. And then, in my opinion, this team is probably better on offense, even though it has pretty good defensive viability, which we'll share at the end. But I prefer it on offense. Mainly because I like playing with it now that I've studied it a bit. Excuse me. All right, and then if you have the Omicrons, for sure take it on offense because it is a GL killer. Those three little bullet points down there, that's what each of the Omicrons give. So the special gives TM removal, AoE armor shred, and stacking speed when you use it. The leadership gives a pre-taunt to Baylan. And if there's a non-GL Ahsoka version, you get to ignore protection. So you can shred through those teams really fast. And then the enemy's buffs turn into debuffs when you have that Omicron. So they kind of punish themselves by buffing themselves up. Kind of cool. And then the unique Omicron gives additional bonuses of those Soldier of Fortune unique abilities. So they're all useful. Kind of apply those Omicrons as you can. I know they're an expensive material. So be judicious and work it for your roster. Okay. Let's get into Baylan Skoll a little bit. So his leadership is called It's All Inevitable. He's going to gain 30% offense. He's going to gain taunt when Merc allies fall below 50% health the first time. And while he's taunting, he gains additional benefits. He gains defense, he gains tenacity, and retribution. So kind of nice. He also has a couple different abilities that give him taunt. So he seems to be taunting most of the time. Kind of beneficial. In addition to the bonuses he gets, his mercs are going to gain 20% tenacity, 10 stacks of Soldier of Fortune, which is great. That's where he hands that stuff out. There's some Hondo callouts here, so whenever Hondo gets stacks of ransom, He's also giving stacking defense and recovering health and protection to the rest of the mercs. They're gaining 25% defense, crit damage and protection up when they gain health steal up, which comes from somebody else. And whenever you try to daze or stun the mercenaries, they dispel it and they recover 25% health and protection. So just more survivability on that team based on Baylan's leadership. The final part of his leadership is when they're feared. So if they're going up against Admiral Piet with his AoE ability, or the Sith Empire teams that grant fear, the mercs are going to gain a 50% bonus max protection, stacking offense. They're going to deal AoE, true damage, blind, and healing immunity to the opposite team. So this is like a hard counter to Malgus, which is great. That's a tough team. And then they're going to gain 2 stacks of Soldier of Fortune, the mercs are, when they assist or attack out of turn, which also happens quite a bit on this team. So that's kind of how the rest of those older mercenary characters are gaining their stacks. And then, like we said before, you have the Soldier of Fortune unique on the big 3. Baylan's version is he gets a stack per relic level. I've got him at relic 7, so he gets 7 stacks right out the rip, in addition to that 10 that he gets on the start of the battle from the leadership ability above. He's going to gain more stacks when he gets damaged. He's going to lose stacks when he taunts, so that's kind of a give and take kind of thing. And then mercs are going to gain a stacking 5% health steal and 2% defense per stack until their next turn. So again, he's handing out additional benefits to his team just by virtue of him being there, which is great. Thanks, Baylan. All right, for his abilities, he's got another unique where he gains more stacks of Soldier of Fortune if Shin and Marak are allies. So again, you want that big 3 team comp with those 3, because now he's up at 27 stacks right off the rip, working towards his stacking benefits that we'll see here in just a sec. He's also going to gain 10% crit avoidance and evasion, which is great, harder to hit. He's going to gain offense stacking whenever he gets evaded. So he attacks somebody, they have foresight or whatever, and he misses. He gets more stacking offense as the battle goes on. He's also going to recover health and protection at the start of his turn. And then he gets these bonuses at the non-Omicron level, as you see on the screen here. And then those additional Soldier of Fortune stacks that we talked about with his Omicron on that last, on the review screen. So at 45 stacks, he's going to reflect 45% damage when he gets hit. At 50 stacks or more, he's going to expose the enemy with Purge, which comes from the rock. And at 55 stacks, when he stuns somebody, he's going to reduce the enemy speed by 10 on that target. So he's making them slower as he's getting stronger. His basic applies taunt to himself, which is great. He's going to recover health and protection, and mercs are going to gain turn meter and tenacity up. On his first special, One Must Destroy, he is going to dispel all the debuffs on the merc team, and they are prone to it, so great ability here. He's also going to deal damage 3 times to the target enemy. He's going to inflict stagger, defense down, and offense down for 2 turns to that enemy. And then again, he's going to reapply his taunt and buff his mercs with offense up and potency up. So again, a lot is going on every time you use an ability. His last special, Power, such as You've Never Dreamed, deals AoE damage and dispels all buffs on the enemy team, which is great. If they don't have Foresight, it will miss. If they have Foresight and their Omicron isn't active, to turn Foresight into buff immunity, which is crazy against GMK. We'll see that in the video at the end. He's also going to gain 5% tenacity, and the mercs are going to gain 20% stacking offense if Baylan has more than 40 stacks of Soldier of Fortune. So you could always have a little spreadsheet going on the side of the PC client, if that's what you're fighting on, so you can track all this kind of stuff. I just kind of ignore it, and I'll show you my dumbed-down version here in a sec. But you do get more stuff as you have more stacks, so get those stacks. All right, Shin Hati has a bunch of abilities. Let's start with her basic, Fierce Foray. She's going to call everybody into assist, so that's going to gain those stacks of Soldier of Fortune based on Baylan's Soldier of Fortune unique ability. So many things going on. If she has more than 10 stacks of Soldier of Fortune, she's going to do an AoE crit chance down on the team, and she's going to deal 10% more damage per stack of Soldier of Fortune if the enemy is stunned. So this comes into play after Baylan has stunned somebody or after Shin stuns somebody, and then she follows up with a basic. She can one-shot fools with that 10% more damage. It stacks up to 100%, and she hits hard already. Her first special is called I've Eyes on Them, which is an AoE damage to the enemy team, applies offense down and vulnerable. allies are going to gain 30% protection up and gain 25% turn meter, and reduce the AoE enemy cooldowns by 1 if she has more than 10 stacks. So again, you want that Soldier of Fortune kicking around and buffing up your team. Her second special is, we'll take it from here, she's going to stun for 1 turn. So you can use this and then follow up with a basic and do that increased 10% damage. She's going to gain crit damage up and riposte for 2 turns. She's going to attack again if she has more than 15 stacks. And she's going to decrease the stacks or the cooldowns on Clean Escape, which is her hide ability. She's also going to inflict buff immunity and deal 10% more damage per purge, again, which comes from Marak. Her unique, You Have No Power, is she gets to ignore taunt. I forget this a lot, even as I'm playing with this team, so don't forget. You can target anybody you want with Shin. It's great if you have her zated up. She's going to gain 25% accuracy and 50% offense at the start of the encounter. When she gets crit, she's going to gain retribution and 150 speed, so her abilities are going to cycle around a lot faster. And then she gets to access that Clean Escape, which is a hide. It also dispels her debuffs. It gains health for her. All of her allies who are not tanks gain stealth. And then if she has 20 plus stacks, she dispels the enemy's buff, so another cleanse to the enemy team. She's going to apply AoE defense down. She's going to gain crit hit immunity and health steal for 2 turns. That also goes back to Baylan's kit. There was that call out to the health steal up. It gains additional Soldier of Fortune stacks. At 35 stacks, she's going to gain an AoE foresight for the team, offense up, and an AoE turn meter reduction to the enemies when she has those 35 plus stacks. So good to go. And she's going to try to daze the enemy team. So a lot's going on with that unique. She also has the Soldier of Fortune unique, where she's gaining 1 stack of Soldier of Fortune on a crit, or an attack out of turn, and per relic level. So again, the higher you get Shin, the more stacks of Soldier of Fortune she gets. She's also going to give her Merc allies a little bit of a 5% bonus there on their damage. All right, we're almost done. Last of the big 3, that's Marak. Marak is a little bit different. CG made him into like a Mercenary Inquisitorius unit, so he gets like bonuses on both of those teams, and he has callouts for both of those teams. So his basic is he is going to give his allies, if they're mercenaries, defense up for a turn. But the big thing is he's going to inflict 3 stacks of purge. And those stacking purge debuffs give him additional bonuses and his team, as we just saw in Shin's kit. His first special, his only special, is called Desperate Getaway. And that does AoE damage. So it's going to hit the entire team, enemy team. It's going to expose the target enemy and hit again. And it's also going to do an AoE ability block if he's got 20 or more stacks of Soldier of Fortune. But he also consumes all of his purge and grants a random Merc ally advantage per stack of purge that he ate. So it's kind of like the Inquisitorius when they do their specials, like Ninth Sister. She does her big slam attack and she eats all the purge on the team. Same thing with Second Sister. She does the big lightsaber slam and eats all the purge. Same thing with Marak. His first unique of 3. A lot of uniques on this guy. For a Night Sister fart, he's got a lot going on. Masked Hunter. Marak gains 30% max health and protection, 50% potency at the start of the battle, so he can inflict those purges more easily. He's going to assist when a Merc ally uses a special, so he assists a lot. Again, his basic inflicts purge, so that purge is ramping up quite a bit. His Merc allies are going to gain turn meter when they resist debuffs. They are going to inflict purge on their turn, so that's nice, so more purge. And they're going to gain damage immunity, the Merc allies are, the first time their health reaches 20%. If Marak has 20 plus stacks of Soldier of Fortune, he is going to reduce enemy offense by 20%. If he has 40 stacks, he's going to apply an AoE 3 stack of purge. And his Desperate Getaway, his AoE attack, is going to expose all enemies for 2 turns. So again, the more stacks, the better. His second unique is called Patience. When damaged by an attack out of turn, the enemy gains purge. Okay, there's a lot of assist attacks on the Mercenary team, and every time an attack hits the enemy from an attack out of turn, they're going to get purge. And then Marak is gaining 3% turn meter per purge. And then it also gives him like some random Inquisitorius benefits. That also kicks in with the Omicron and makes that Riva unlock territory battle much, much easier. I applied that Omicron myself just for a quality of life Omicron. I don't regret it at all. Now I don't have to remod those stupid Inquisitors. And we've still got guild members who don't have Riva, so that helps out. All right, finally he gets the Soldier of Fortune unique. His is different. He doesn't gain stacks per relic level, so kind of it doesn't really matter how high up you take him. Unless you want that TB battle, then he has to be relic 7. But he is getting Soldier of Fortune stacks based on how many enemy Jedi or Ufu are on the other side. His Merc allies are going to gain that 2% defense pen per stack until the end of turn and recover some health and protection. And then Maraka is going to gain his Soldier of Fortune stacks per purge by ally. So every time an ally inflicts purge, taking their turns, he is gaining Soldier of Fortune stacks. So he actually gets quite a few. But then he's going to lose those 3 stacks whenever he does his Desperate Getaway. Kind of like when Baylan taunts, he loses stacks. So there's some give and take, and those numbers are always going up and down based on what you're doing. Okay, you guys made it through. Cheers. Take a drink. Good job. We're going to get to the summary version of all those abilities, which for me anyway, I like. All right, so if you're using Wrangler Vision and you're dumbing everything down, here's what these abilities do. Baylan's basic taunts. His first special cleanses. His second special dispels. It does other stuff too, but those are the big ones. For Shin, her basic is going to call an assist that you get to select. Her first special is going to AoE, her second does an armor shred, and her third hides everybody. For Marak, his basic applies purge, and his special gives AoE damage. That's it. That's all I think about when I'm running this team. It's probably why I'm not the best at it, but it'll get you through. Okay, we had talked about how there's a whole bunch of mercenaries, and they kind of break down into these categories. There's a bunch of them. You've got Hut Cartel mercenaries, rebels, bounty hunters, Jedi, Old Republic, scoundrels, and the new Sad Batch. So you could put your Merc Hunter and Merc Wrecker into this team if you don't have the mercenaries geared up yet, or if you have your Sad Batch relicked already. Congratulations. You can also throw them in here if you want to use the other guys somewhere else. That being said, the most common team comps you're going to see on Swigo.gg in the data, by far and away, are the 4th and 5th being Hondo and Kira. Hondo has the ransom mechanic, calling back to Baylan's kit, and he can call in assists. Kira can also call in assists. She's got a AoE Dispel on her bomb that also does damage, and right now she has a Datacron, so that gives her additional benefits, right? So it's easier to slot her in compared to some of the other ones like Boba Fett, Scion of Jango, Jango Fett, Dengar, or Canderous, which are kind of that second tier of more common mercenaries to see. But you can see just about all the mercenaries in there. I've seen all of them in the Swigo.gg data. It's just most people use these. And remember, they don't have their own Soldier of Fortune uniques. It all comes from Baylan and the Shin and Marak interactions. So as you're looking through their kits, you're not going to see the Soldier of Fortune unique on these older mercenaries, just so you know. Okay, so getting further into the data, again, you're more likely to see this team on defense than you are on offense, but they're good on offense. They are GL killers, as you can see on this list over here. JMK, Ray Ezra, GL Leia. You can take them all out in GAC. Not so easy in other fights, and I'll show you that as well. You can also take out the new Ahsoka, especially if Cat or ATF, Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum, or Snips is on that team. You have the ability to take out the new GL as well. But you can also take out Malga Sith Empire. We looked at those fear mechanics and how nasty it gets when you take Baylan in against those teams that apply fear. You can take out Saw, you can take out Great Mothers, you can take out Gas, although that gets sketchy, and I'll show that too. I was laughing throughout that whole fight. Take out Boss Hunters or Finzori. So there's a lot of common defensive teams that Baylan can take out, and that's how I like to use them. However, if you want to put him on defense, you're not alone. 33,000 people have put this guy down so far. This does not count this current 5v5 season that we're in now, just up to now. It's only at a 14% hold rate, but look at that average banner win. Holy smokes. So this is a good banner stripping team on defense. If you're in a efficiency battle or you know your opponent likes to do that, you can place this down and all of a sudden they're losing 10 banners. in one battle, even if they one-shot it, which they may not do. And if you look at the counters that it takes to take this guy out, look at those. Slacker with Darkside Ray, the new Ray, Riva Inquisitors, Slacker without Darkside Ray. Kind of interesting, right? So you could actually save her, the new Pointing Teeth Ray, and maybe put her on Sith Eternal Emperor or another Sith team. You could, right? Bane and an associated Sith of your choice, or JML. So it takes GLs or really high-level teams to take this squad out, which is probably why it's down at a 14% hold rate, because everybody's taking big teams in there. You take in teams not as good as this, and Baylan might beat you. So, you know, again, you're not alone if you put him on defense. Okay. That brings us to our summary. We went over a lot, but this is kind of the main points. You want to have Baylan and Shin and Marak. They're the one that give out those Soldier of Fortune benefits to the other two members of your team. There are a ton of conditional bonuses, and a lot of them are based on how many stacks of Soldier of Fortune you have. So the more the better. A lot of mercenary choices, so take your pick of what is in your roster, what's appropriate. And for me anyway, in my opinion, I think he's probably better on offense, especially if you have his Omicrons. But he is a defensive nightmare if you don't take in the right team. So it's up to you. Okay, let's take a look at some footage. And we're going to kind of go through this kind of quick. So these first couple battles are in Squad Arena. I wanted to try Baylan up against some GLs. So this is a Ray Ben team without Ezra, even though the GG data says you can take out a Rezra team. And I'm kind of struggling here. So we do some damage, right? We're looking pretty good here, but then Ray takes out Baylan. So I'm like, okay, this fight's over. But I wanted to keep going and just see what happens. So I get Ben down into the red there. I should probably focus on him when I get rid of this taunt on Holdo, because we lost Baylan. And the only time Ben comes back under a Ray lead is if you have a leader ability. And we don't have a leader. So as soon as I get through this ultimate right here where we lose Kira, the taunt is off Holdo, and I should have kept going because I could have taken out Ben right then. Instead, we take out Holdo, so it's not a complete loss. We have Ben in the red, we've got Ray in the yellow now, so we're looking good, but we've got damage immunity up. So the mechanics of the Ray team are kicking our butt a little bit. We lose one more of our friend, we lose Hondo there, and now it's just Shin and Marak, and they're actually doing good damage, we just can't make it through. Ray drops back into an ultimate stance, and when she pops it off, we're going to lose the rest of the team. So, at least in Squad Arena, no Omicrons on the board, but the Kira Datacron active. Ray was a loss. I'm like, okay, we lost against Ray. Let's check out GL Leia. Now, this is an annoying comp. It's got Baze in there as an auto taunt tank, and it's got Mon Mothma in there to revive anybody that we kill. So, pretty annoying. But I was thinking maybe with all of our AoE damage on this team, we can get through. So I isolate or put Ransom on Drogon. That eliminates his turn meter and takes him out of action for a little bit. And I'm like, all right, let's just take out Baze. He's annoying. So there goes Baze. We got rid of him. Now I'm on to Leia. And what I should have done, and I do this a lot, is just keep focusing down Leia. Just pick a target and shred them down and then move on. Even though you've got a lot of AoE damage. Now you can bring the rest of the team down, but as you can see, Captain Drogon came out of the ransom, and then I'm like, ooh, I gotta kill him. He's gonna kill off my team. Mistake, because then he gets stealth with R2, and now Baze returns because of Mon Mothma, and I'm like, damn it, I almost had it. I should have just stayed on Leia the whole time, and maybe this would have gone different. But again, we're gonna keep going. We still have all of our team here, so let's do it. Leia's about to drop into her ultimate, so we're going to be in trouble. We're going to dispel all those buffs with that second special on Baylan. Now we're going after Leia, a little too late. We've got the AoE coming out of Shin. We've got another ransom here. Put it on R2, why not? We're going to dispel our debuffs, which we didn't have, but it was an AoE hit. And then there we go. We lost Kira, we lost Shin, now we lost Hondo. We're about to lose Baylan here once his damage immunity drops off. Remember, that damage immunity comes in when you go below 20% health for the first time. But if the damage is enough and it takes you down to 0, you never get it in the first place. So GL Leia was a loss. Now we're going up against a new GL Ahsoka team, still in Squad Arena, but they have ATF hiding over there on that left-hand side, over by Ezra, excuse me, Exile Ezra. I isolate Ezra because I don't want to deal with him, and we kill off ATF. Perfect. So I'm like, okay, we're moving. We kill off Sabine, Padawan Sabine. The damage is pretty much done on that team. Now it's just survivability. Killed off a Yang, might as well. I should have been going after Ezra at this point. Everybody knows it takes forever to get GL Ahsoka down, and you'll see that here in this fight. She just keeps gaining health and protection, and I can never quite get through. I figure maybe if we stack up some armor shreds and keep calling in that assist damage, but she takes out Kira, so there goes some AoE damage. She just about took out Shin there. We can dispel buffs, or we can cleanse our own team. Baylan's gone now, and now I'm like sad. So again, in Squad Arena, didn't work so well. I probably misplayed it, but whatever. And then I've got 2 battles in Conquest. So we still don't have Omicrons on, and these teams are buffed with that over-prepared mechanic, so they go first. So we've got buff immunity, and we've got the explosive trap one off because Saw went first. But we're going to recover. We're going to rebound here. So again, we can isolate somebody here with a ransom. Might as well just put it on Baze and get rid of him. He's annoying. We can call in the assist or throw the bombs. The bombs dispel buffs on the enemy team, which is great. We got the AoE coming in here. Baze is almost gone. The Danger Zone team over there on that left-hand side that are under stealth right now, they're almost gone. Chirrut is almost gone. So you start taking teams with Baylan against Saw, and you shred them pretty quick. Here goes Saw. Just a basic there, kill him off. We could hide, so let's do that. Now we leave Baylan out in the open with his taunt. And it's just down to Biggs, and Biggs is going to tap out here pretty quick. And there you go. So that's a Saw battle, at least in Conquest. It'll be even easier in GAC. With your Omicron Baylan if you've got them. This is Sector 4. These are Relic 8, 501st. And this gets dicey. So I can see why this is a lower percentage win, even in GAC. So we're going after Gas. We have to knock him down first, as usual. The more buffs we get, the more offense they get. So the longer this fight goes on, the more risky it is for us. I tried to ransom Gas. That doesn't work. I guess that's part of his kit. I don't know. But we're just going to go all-in brawl here on Gas. Get him down. Getting a little low on Baylan. I'm not liking that a lot. Put the armor shred out on Gas. That also doesn't stick. Again, I don't know if that's because of a potency tenacity check or it's a conquest thing, but we didn't land it. Now we're going to go after 5s. We'll throw that AoE out there. Eat up some Purge and get some bonuses. Get some stacks of Soldier of Fortune. And then all in on 5s right here. We're going to try to kill him off. We got the AoE damage here. A little risky. That could have caused a sacrifice and all kinds of problems. But I was lucky. Now we're going after Arc Trooper. Just a basic here to kill him off. Or a bomb. Dispel the buffs. And now we're down to just Gas. And Gas is pissed off now. We don't have a lot of debuffs to dispel. We don't have any buffs to dispel. I should have just done a basic right then. But whatever, I didn't. Basic on Hondo. Basic on Shin. That's going to call an assist on one of your allies of choice. But every time we hit him, Gas comes back. And he is doing some damage at this point. Look at that. Baylan's almost gone. My Relic 7 Baylan. This Relic 8 Gas is taking him to the woodshed here. We're starting to lose our team. We finally managed to get a stun right there. And that saved our bacon. So Shin and Hondo are chilling at the end of the fight, enjoying that nice juicy profit on that win from Gas, but that was sketch. Okay. So now let's get into GAC. This is just tonight. This is the 3rd round, the championship round of GAC, and my opponent set a JMK. I had Baylan available by design. I was hoping to test some stuff out. So we are going to dispel buffs, and Mace was taunting with his resilient defense. I really want to get rid of Cat though. So we're going to do some AoE damage there. We're going to do more AoE damage, get those stacks of Soldier of Fortune. We're going to call the assist in with Shin, so she can call in another attack, another assist. And we already got through the sacrifice on Cat. We're looking good. Big hit through Baylan. Didn't get the stun though. Basic. We've got an armor shred coming up here and a stun, and Cat is gone. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah!
Kira goes off and destroys the rest of the team with her bombs. You gotta love that Datacron. And now let's get rid of Mace because he's just gonna get resilient defense. Get rid of him with a shot from Shin. And now it's just JMK. And look at that, we're a minute and a half in. We're at full health and protection. This is a 65 banner win. And all we have to do is chew through JMK. Beautiful counter. On, you know, not the best GL anymore, but still pretty tough if you don't have the offensive chops to take him out. 2 minutes down, and we're starting to chew through that health. We've got health immunity on him, buff immunity on him. So he's kind of cooked once you get those landed. And Marak has the final shot. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. That is my rundown on the Baylan squad. You've got this. You can screenshot it if you want it. The more important one for me, at any rate, is this one. I'm definitely saving the screen because there's a lot going on in these kits. There's a lot of mercenaries that kind of play in and out of this team, but there's a lot just going on in the big three. And to have something simplified where you can at least get the main part of the ability, knowing you're going to get additional stuff going on, in my opinion, that's a win. All right, guys. Be good out there. If you can't be good, don't get caught. I will see you on the next video. Wranglers out.